Well, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Welcome to the house, the one they talking about, word of mouth, the boxing playhouse, without a doubt. All the latest and greatest boxing news, that's what it's all about.
Welcome, and this is Boxing Playhouse. I'm your girl Sakura A, and I'm with Emilio Santana.
What's up, y'all?
And you're watching an After Dark series, but this is a very, very special edition because we've got the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame inductee Danny Santiago, Glenn Johnson, and of course, the incomparable Florida Boxing Hall of Fame announcer Bob Alexander joining us tonight. Are you excited?
Oh man, I'm so excited. Florida Hall of Fame right around the corner, y'all. It's coming.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be so special that weekend, guys. It's June 18th to the 20th. Please go over to the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame's website to find out more information on tickets, host, hotel, and the TNK Boxing family's fight for Friday nights. So first up, we're going to introduce our special guest co-host for the evening. And of course, you know that voice when you hear it, ladies. And yes, do you have something?
We got to have the word of the night. And I think the word of the night should be Hall of Fame.
All right. We got that Hall of Fame night coming up and boom, I can't wait. Let's go ahead and introduce our legendary Florida Boxing Hall of Fame announcer and vice president of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, also, Bob Alexander.
Good evening, my friends. I gotta get a goblet like Emilio has, man. That is styling and profiling.
You got
I love that
Bob.
thing.
You got to.
You gotta get me one,
man.
I got when I'm rolling in the playhouse, you know.
Yeah, you got to have your goblet or some type of drink in your hand, even if it's a bottle of water, Bob. You know how we do.
Well, I've got my Tampa Bay Buccaneers cup here, so I'm in good shape.
Okay, you're great right there. I mean, that's a winning team right now, so we good.
There you go.
Bob, are you excited about this Hall of Fame weekend or what? I mean, you guys have outdone yourself with this class. 2021 is just amazing.
Well, we had a late haul last year in 2020 because of COVID, and we did everything we can to make it as great as it could be. But we've had plenty of time to get ready for this year, going back to our normal June schedule. And this, every year we say, well, this is the best class. This is the best class. I have no doubt this year is the biggest, greatest class we have done in our 12-year history. It is loaded to talent.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Please tell us some of the induction names so that our guests can be aware of who they can run into if they make sure they participate that weekend.
If you come join us at the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend, you are going to get up close and personal with great boxers such as the legendary champion Antonio Tarver Sr., he will be there, and these guys are going to be there all weekend. They'll be taking pictures, signing autographs. You can get as up close and personal as you want. We have three-time world light heavyweight champion Glenn the Road Warrior Johnson, who fought Antonio Tarver twice. They split those two bouts. They will both be there. We have Danny Santiago, who is one of the best fighters that ever came out of Florida. He represents Ocala so well. They love him up there. We have Danny Sanchez, who was a great fighter during time, went everywhere, fought everybody, never ducked anyone. We are very, very happy to have Marcel Clay, who was a fighter from the Miami Beach area when he used to fight. That was when Miami Beach was in its heyday in boxing, and Marcel was working out at the Fifth Street Gym all the time. So we're excited to have him. Jameel McCline, the only fighter to ever fight for the heavyweight championship 4 times. He is going to be there and be inducted. We also have Rodolfo Aguiar, who fought Julio Cesar Chavez. He's now a top trainer and matchmaker. He will be going in. And we have Frankie Randall, who, as you probably know, passed away back in December. But he, of course, was
Yes.
the first man to beat Julio Cesar Chavez. He will be represented by his longtime trainer, Aaron Snow. So that's just part of the line. Those are just the fighters. We have media
Wow.
members. We have commission members. We have,
Mhm.
it's a huge list. And we're just so excited.
Well, I'm especially excited to know that Joey Orduna, the matchmaker extraordinaire for T&K Boxing Promotions, is getting an achievement award. I mean, that is also very special, and we just love him. So it's amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Joey is such a great guy. And then, of course, he and Jesus Escalera of T&K Promotions are putting together the pro show for Friday night to kick off the whole weekend. So we're excited about that. There'll also be a special award given to Steve Harris, who is one of the best amateurs ever come out of the state of Florida. His dad, Lou Harris, of course, was inducted last year into the Hall. And a special
yes.
Lifetime Achievement Award will go to the late Bob Nicholson, who was with USA Boxing for decades. His wife is going to be there, plenty of support. It's going to be a great weekend. It really is.
Oh my God, it's so exciting. I can't wait because, I fell in love with the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekend like a few years back, and we haven't stopped going since. And it's just amazing because we've been able to participate more and more each year. So we thank you guys for supporting Boxing Playhouse and allowing us to be media there.
Well, it really means a lot that you are there because you guys bring class and you bring a great program to help cover us. We're very grateful for all you do, and we're just welcome to have you. We want you have the run of the place, Sakura. You and Amelia, you guys do whatever you want during those 3 days.
Hey, we
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
that, Bob.
you. Well, let's go ahead and see what's going on with two of our inductees this year. The first one that we have joining us is Danny Santiago. Let's see what Danny Santiago has been up to.
Danny.
Hola.
How you doing? What's going on?
Man, we're chilling. Danny, how you feel, man?
I feel great, man. I'm like a little kid waiting for a Christmas, It's a great honor for me.
Right.
And I'm waiting to come and take me to Florida for the Hall of Fame,
Oh, for sure. It seems like that you've been in the Florida scene for quite some time and you've got such a great record. The thing about it is you representing Colombia. I mean, where else have you lived in the past couple of years since your retirement?
I did a little bit of traveling to Canada and Europe for a while, but everything in life, I settled down for a while, and that was my home. I graduated high school there, and off to college for a while. But I got married, brought me to Colombia. I didn't really speak Spanish when I came here, to be honest with you. I learned how to Spanish, and I met some incredibly talented young men who inspired me to. I was going to walk away from boxing just totally and just pursue a regular job and education, right? But I came down here. I came for a visit, and I walked into a local boxing gym here, like their version of a PAL program, right, or YMCA. And these kids were literally in there sparring with no shoes and no mouthpiece, and it's like unbelievable, just as raw as you can get. And I started a conversation with the coach as best I could in English and Spanish, and he informed me that they've had some Olympians, they've had some really great fighters here, but they've never had a professional fighter here. So when I went back to the States, had my gyms over there, and just one thing led to another. God brought me this way, and my wife is trying to get me over here. She's tired over here. Of course, there's so much economical for us, right? And I came down here and opened up a gym, and I'm really happy doing what I'm doing. I got some incredibly talented kids, One of them fighting on June 5th in Mexico for the WBC silver belt middleweight title. He's got 8 fights and he's a monster. I tell everybody he's a unicorn.
Hey, Danny, we're having a little difficulty hearing you. So if you could tell whoever's in the background to turn down their phone or their TV.
Yeah,
You know, these
there's
microphones
nothing on.
pick
I
up
mean,
everything.
I'm at the gym. No ponga el teléfono, quita el teléfono. I'm at the gym, so you know, you might hear cars in the background and things, but I'll try to talk a little louder.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We hear you really well now. All right. So tell us,
Yeah,
what's your favorite fight that you actually had?
my favorite fight, I fought this kid in Pennsylvania, and ironically, I won the fight, right? As a professional, you're talking to me about, not amateur. Am I correct?
Right.
Okay. Yes. And I knocked the kid down. The guy got knocked me down. It's the first time I have ever been down at that particular time, at that particular stage of my life, and it was just a knockdown, drag down war. I mean, I'm not shy about things. I'm a man. I take my lumps and bruises like everybody else. I'm just willing to admit, hey, listen, my 7 losses, I lost. I got beat because of a coach. It wasn't because my dog died. It wasn't because I had problems losing weight. The guy was just better that day. And one thing that really, chaps my, when people say, oh, I lost because I had to lose weight, before the fight. We all have to lose. I've been in boxing since 1989, and I've 30-some fights and I've lost 7-some fights, and every one of the I lost, those guys beat me, and I will not dishonor them or the game by saying that I lost for any other reason except that they were better that day.
Hey, I mean, you don't have no ego, and I love that. A lot of boxers don't want to just say, hey, I mean, he was a better boxer that day. Now, the
Well,
other
it
thing
has to
that
be. I do
fascinated
have an
me,
ego.
uh,
Excuse me. I do have an ego, but I have respect for the game that I chose to have. You know what I mean? Like this profession, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and you can't.
okay,
I mean, I remember weeks before I was watching this movie with Sylvester Stallone, and then I
yeah,
him in Connecticut, when he on my butt, and I went home, I had a nice little paycheck. It would have been nice, but he beat me, and he's going to Hall of Fame this year, he's going in with me, and I take my hat off to him, man, because you know what, that day he rose to the occasion, and I did the best I could, and the best just wasn't enough, and I take my hat off to him. I would never disrespect anybody, win or lose, because at the end of the day, we go in there and put our lives on the line, and that's worth a lot. That means a lot.
I was gonna say now the one thing that's fascinating, one of those losses you had was to your fellow inductee Antonio Tarver, now senior, and that was back
That's
in
it. That's exactly what I'm talking
2007.
about. Yeah,
That
that's
is
exactly what I'm talking. I was literally in the movie theater with. I was in the little movie theater. Go to movie spot often when I'm in the States, and I went to the movie theater and I'm watching, Rocky 127 or whatever it was, right? And I see Antonio Tarver, beat Rocky. Finally, Rocky got beat and retired, and Antonio did that. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
a few weeks later, I got a phone call to fight. Whenever it was, I got a while later, I got a phone call to fight, and whatever the time frame was, it didn't matter, because if I would have won that day, I wouldn't have said anything. Look, I beat the guy I watched on TV on the movie theater the other day. I have a lot of respect for him. The things that he's done, it's legendary, and I'm just honored and privileged to be inducted into the Hall of Fame with individuals like him and Glenn Johnson. Glenn Johnson has a near dear place in my heart. We used to spar a lot, and I
Uh-huh.
know his struggle very well. And when he became the world champion, it's like I became the world champion, because I know how hard he struggled and how hard he worked to get there.
Wow. Oh, that's so sweet. Bob, you got any questions
Listen,
for our Hall of Famer?
Uh-oh.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Get ready. No, I just want to say that I had the privilege of ring announcing several of Danny's fights, including some in Ocala in that horse arena with all the sawdust on the ground. That was so cool. We had
Livestock
such a
pavilion.
blast doing those
Yeah.
shows. Yeah, the
There was
livestock
some good
pavilion.
fights there.
There were some really good fights, and what I want to ask you, Danny, is you are very closely tied to the city of Ocala. They absolutely love you up there. You're one of their favorite sons, and I just want to ask you about your relationship with Ocala. You identify with it; they identify with you, and I just want to know what it means to have that relationship as you're getting ready to go into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame.
Well, I graduated high school there. I have my family there. My mother lives there. I still have a house back there and stuff. And they've always supported me. They've always had my back. You've seen the shows. I mean, I think we had about 15 to 20 shows, and out of the 20, probably one wasn't sold out. If you could probably attest to that.
You're right.
Vernon Ansel, Russell Ansel, and Bad Boys Boxing Promotions. They used to do a hell of a show over there. And probably the reason the people like me there is because Rusty, Vernon Ansel, he put up about 30 or 40 billboards around town. And ever since he put those billboards up, there were no love bugs in town. They would see my face and go the opposite direction. So people were like really happy when they put my face up there, and they were like, "Wait a minute, it's got to be the billboard." So they ever since they took the billboards down, the love bugs came back. So I think that's why they fell in love with me so much.
Yeah, love bugs.
But if I could say
That's
something,
great.
a trivial thing, we in Ocala, when we did the shows there, I was honored to bless to be blessed to share a ring with likes of Meldrick Taylor, Saul Mambi, the list goes top dog. Just a tremendous amount of talent has gone through Ocala, and who would have thought a small town like there's a joke they say it's called Slow Ocala, Florida, but it brought a lot of world class fighters there.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so we got some fans that's been chiming in. And of course, we want to first thank the beautiful Dahlia Duran for being our resident interpreter and translator for the Latin audience. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. And thank the beautiful Dahlia for being a part of our boxing family.
I didn't get that standing there before you go there.
Okay, go ahead.
Danny, I had it's a two-part question. I want to know who's your favorite fighter and what fight was out there that you wanted to happen, but it didn't happen for you.
Well, here's a little tidbit here. I came from the Bronx, New York. I won New York City Golden Gloves and all the tournaments out there, right? And for a time, I was training in the Catskills with Kevin Rooney for a while. And when I was up there, I was training, and I idolized Mike. I got to meet him when I was very young, and he gifted me a pair of gloves that I still own to this very day, right? Eventually, you're going to find this crazy. I moved to Ocala, Florida, and I met somebody who was a business partner with Kevin Rooney. So I met Kevin Rooney again in Florida, and I drove one summer to upstate New York, and I trained up there for 2 years. So my favorite fight question was Mike at the time. I love Mike. I love Mike's story. I'm a New York kid, I too with a young mother, and I had the struggles like everybody else. I had a good life. My mother provided me, and my life was different in that aspect of things when it came to Mike. But I was short, I was stocky, I have like T-Rex arms, so I had no choice to fight that type of style.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? So I had to move my head and bob and weave, and when I went up there, I learned that. But as I was up there, I was starting to see that style of fighting was just too difficult. After 2 or 3 rounds, I had nothing left in the gas tank. So I went back to the Bronx, and I went into this gym, and I trained with a guy named Jeff Farrell and another Hall of Inductee that's going in this year, who I love and adore, is Luis Camacho. He trained me for about 17 of my professional fights, and we had a good run for a while, and I love him to death, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's pretty nice. Now my question
he got
was
me acclimated to be a little bit more diverse instead of just being the bobbing and weaving deal. Mike is the man at that, and at some point in time, I had to just change it. It was just too hard for me. I still have some implements of it all, some elements of it, but Camacho, I saw his interview the other day, and he talks about the Bronx left hook, and I developed that same left hook that he was known for. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry. The floor is yours.
No, no, go ahead. We're here to listen to you tonight. You're the Hall of Famer, not me.
All right, well, ask away. I'm ready. I'm gonna ham it up. So you let me know what we need to do.
I keep making a mistake in saying it. Well, okay, so my question was about the National Boxing Association championship that you have. I mean, that belt used to be like, I mean, it's finally coming back now thanks to Damon Gonzalez. But I mean, that belt back in the day, that was it. That's what you got. So, I mean, how did you feel being able to achieve that, knowing that you probably saw it in boxing matches and things like that, growing up?
Well, I forgot to answer a question that your co-host there answered, but I'm going to answer it in two parts. First and foremost, when I won that title in Ocala, it was the first of its kind, right? Because when we did our shows there, they were actually the first of its kind as well. So when I put the fight on there and Rusty put on the show there, and I think Bob was there that day as well. It was just an incredible deal. It was the first of its kind, and it led me to it opened up a lot of doors for me. I still have the belt that's up on my wall here, and I'll never forget it. I fought for other titles. I fought for some WBC deal and stuff, and it's up on the wall as well. But that initial one, believe it or not, I've never was the WBA or the IBF or anything like that. But that NBA, that's my baby, and I'll live with that, and I'm happy, and I'm proud of it. It is what it is. Listen, sometimes people are the bride, and sometimes people are the bridesmaids. And that's just my story, and I'm sticking with it. As far as the other question the gentleman asked me, what the fight that got away from me, look, when I was younger, there were two guys that were the baddest persons out there, and I'm not that much younger than they are, but as terms of boxing is concerned, I was in the fetal stage when these guys were really doing their thing, and it's Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, So I got to meet Mike a couple times, and he's real cool. I seen him one day that he wasn't that cool, but most of the times he's pretty cool, And another time, Roy Jones, and I got to spar Jones very, very early in my career. And I'll never forget this. He was training with Alton Murkison. We were in New Jersey at Great Gorge, New Jersey training camp up there. And I go in there, and I had a chip on my shoulder. And, Roy's Roy. He was undefeated at the time. He was like 28-0. And this way, nobody was touching Roy, And the guy, Mark's like, hey, look, keep your hands up, and we see if we can get you through the round, And I was like, holy shit, okay, So when I went in there with him, I was like, I felt like I was in there with 5 invisible people. It was just like, holy shit. Excuse my language. Holy smoke, And,
wow, he was that much, huh?
It was like, the light switch and the light goes on. That's as fast as he was, And you couldn't even blink, But I went in there, I got in there, I was able to do 3 rounds. Did I overwhelm him with anything? By no means, As time went on, I started building my confidence. I only had 4 fights at the time. As time went on, I got ranked, and we were supposed to fight a few times. And obviously, he had a better opportunity to fight somebody else and make a little bit more coin, so he took us instead. And then another time we were supposed to fight, and he hurt his hand. And then the last time we were supposed to fight, of all things, we were supposed to fight in St. Martin, the island St. Martin. We had the Prime Minister come in and all that stuff like that. And a hurricane, and of all things, the hurricane was called Hurricane Danny, destroying the island. So it was just God's will for me to never compete with him and stuff like that. But I really thought that that would be the culmination of my career, and it would have been obviously would have been a nice payday. Don't get me wrong, but I really just wanted to compete in him, because for me, when I was growing up, he and Mike Tyson were the very best. And if you're gonna fight and you want to be a fighter, you want to fight the best. You know what I'm saying? So I always wanted to fight him. It was 3 times we were supposed to fight each other. It didn't happen. I don't cry with spilled milk. It is what it is. I'm enjoying retirement. I see that he's still fighting. I stay in shape with the kids, and I spar with them a little bit. And sometimes I do okay, and sometimes they let me know that I'm old, and they make me feel like I go home and I complain to my wife and stuff, But I enjoy it. It'll never leave my blood. But that's the one fight that I've had. But at the end of the day, I don't have that name. And I understand that I don't have that name where people are like, hey, let's do the rematch right now. Right now they got the I think they have the senior circuits. Like the what do you call it? That double A, the AARP card championship now. And I look at these guys, I'm like, man, I don't know if I could do that. But if they call me up, I've never done drugs, I've never smoked a cigarette, I don't drink, I don't do any of that stuff. I'm a completely healthy individual. Who knows what could happen? But that's the one fight they got away from me.
Now, we got all these guys doing these exhibitions and what have you. And I just want to know, like, who would bring you back out of retirement and put you in the ring for one of these exhibitions to make some of them coins that's going around?
The thing of it is like, I think once you're a fighter, you're always a fighter. My wife doesn't even like me to entertain the fight. My wife's like, look, you fight right now, just pulling your pants up. Like you're getting a little belly that you need to get in shape. You know what I mean? But I'm fighting to keep the dish away, the spoon away from my mouth. And it's one of the things that I idolize Camacho. Camacho, he's been, he's 80 years old, and in his 60s and 70s, we would go jogging together, and he would skip a beat. So it's kind of like baseball. I work out with them, I go to the track with them, and it's really all about them. It ain't about me, but they motivate me. You know what I mean? So, but I would never say never. The dream fight would always Roy, but Roy's moved on to bigger, better fish. He's trying to fight. This guy from the MMA deal, a legend guy.
Silver.
Whatever, he fought
Antonio Silva.
Silver. Yeah, exactly. He fought Mike. Listen, that's a terrible deal. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I would never say no to anything, because at the end of the day, I'm young. I'm a young 48. I think I'm younger than all the older guys. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. My wife keeps me healthy. I eat really healthy, and but I'll tell you one thing right now that I'm more passionate than anything else in this world is training my boys. I've never been blessed to have kids, and that I never on that path, But these are my kids, boys, and if I can fulfill my dreams and where I came up living through them, then I'll be satisfied.
Well, that's amazing, and that's a great way to volunteer your time and be with another generation of upcoming champions. So I'm impressed just with that alone. Now we do have somebody coming in that's your induction classmate. Would you like to introduce our guest?
The
Road Warrior.
Yes. We got
and
Glenn.
let me tell you this. I'll keep my mouth shut after this.
Okay.
That dude is the Road Warrior. That guy, I love sparring with him. We used to have some really good sparring sessions. That guy deserves every single thing that he got for himself, because he struggled like nobody's business, and he made it. Wow. And I'm proud to say that I knew him.
Wow.
Well, do we have Glenn with us now?
What screen?
Okay, I know she says his camera is off. Glenn, are you there, honey? Okay, ask Bob to ask Danny a question while we figure out where is the Road Warrior.
Well, Danny, I just want to say that number one, Luis Camacho is 83 years old and he still dances salsa, for goodness sake. I mean, that dude is pure. He's golden. Let me tell you, he is a golden dude. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, he eats healthy. He gardens. Listen, I'll never be a gardener. There's not a green anything in my life. The only thing I like green is what goes in my pockets. That guy has a green thumb. And he's just an amazing individual. Because him and I had like a love-hate thing going. Like, I love him, but I'm crazy. So I drove everybody that was involved crazy. It was funny because you asked me what was my idol, and if you ask Camacho what was his idol was Jack LaLanne. And Jacqueline was a really fit guy who lived to be like 1,000 years old or whatever he was, and he was
Right.
always fit. So Camacho is a really fit guy. I would come to his house and he'll make up some like vegetable concoction. I'm like, man, I don't want to eat that, man. You know, like you know what I mean? But you know, I mean, he lived it. He didn't talk the talk. He walked the walk too. You know what I mean? So I mean, he didn't walk the walk and not talk. He did both. You know, and he had some experiences with Glenn, and we were in the gym sparring together. Like Camacho's just an awesome human being, and God bless him. I mean, to be at his age and still be driving around and doing the things that he's doing, it's really something to say, you know.
Oh yes, that is a really great thing to say. You know, we just had Luis Camacho on last week on the show, and I was amazed to see some of his photos and just how great of a shape he's in. And he says that
Absolutely.
his family is like wanting him to retire, so I guess he pretending he's retired, but he said he'll get back there in his yard and do certain things with, you know, small kids or youth still today.
No, that guy,
So Dan,
you have to nail him down. He's not going to budge. You might have to nail him down. He ain't gonna stop moving until you put him in the grave, because that dude he's just nonstop.
Hey, Danny, I meant to ask you, did you ever fight? Oh, I'm sorry, Bob.
Sorry?
No. Go ahead, Emilio. Go ahead.
Ask you, did you ever fight Lou Duval? I know he's from New York.
Nah, Lou Duval. I love Lou Duval. When I trained in the Bronx, I actually won the Golden Gloves out of the same gym that he was from, and he helped prepare me for the Gold Gloves.
Okay.
And I knew him my whole life. I've known him since I was 17 years old. We've never gotten a chance to fight each other. You pick up the phone. We used to have some serious wars, him and I. He taught me a lot. He has a great boxing. And I remember when he fought Roy, and he knocked him down. I mean, you know, look, Roy's a good dude. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, he's the man. I can't take nothing away from him. I gotta give back. But when I knocked him down, I said, "Ooh, yeah, I went nuts." But then he started coasting. You can't coast against Roy. Roy's too fast. Roy's too smart, you know. But yeah, man, me and Lou, we never fought each other. He prepared me for the Golden Gloves and the Empire State Games and all of that. He went to almost every one of my amateur fights, and he was a big driving force behind my career in my early age.
Wow. He got don't his sister box too? His sister?
Yeah, Melissa. Yeah, she's in. You know what's funny? His family. I'm sorry. Family. The New York City Golden Gloves, which is a very prestigious thing, you know. He won the New York City Golden Gloves. His sister won the New York City Golden Gloves, and his brother won the New York City Golden Gloves. All of them. And
wow.
You know, he trained all of them for the Golden Gloves, and he had a really big story about it. Wow. He's just one of those guys, man. Amazing. An incredible fighter, but he's got a great mind for boxing. Just an incredible mind for it.
Now,
yes,
his sister,
I was going to say he helped increase the Badu Jack's career. Once he started training with him, his career really took off.
Yeah, Badu Jack's an awesome dude, and yeah, I remember because we're all, you know, me, Jeb, and Lou, we stay in contact with each other from time to time, you know. And I remember when he got that job and Floyd flew him out to Vegas. Like, look, man, I'm one of those people, man, that if it ain't gonna be for me, I'd be happy if it's for somebody else. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that he went out to Vegas and he got with that dude, man. And I like to put on the game, and I like to see. I'm like, man, that's my boy, you know. And then I pull the pictures up to my guys. I'm like, look, that's me and him. And not that that means anything to anybody else, but he inspired my boys. And I tell them, I say, look, man, you know, I'm going into the floor of fame. Maybe you get into some fame someday. On another note, you know, when I look at all these guys on TV, you know, I'm happy about it. I'm not, you know, I don't hate. I'm a humble dude who just, you know, enjoys life. There was a one time in my life that I was pretty down, and you know, a lot of fighters go through this, and I just look at the glass always half full. I never look at it half empty.
Bob, can you
By the way,
introduce? Can you tell us your question and then introduce Glenn Johnson because he is waiting. He is back.
oh, I'll be very. I have you. I just wanted to mention that Melissa Del Valle was inducted in the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame about 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
really? Oh, I didn't even know
Yep.
that.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. So she's a proud member of our little fraternity that Danny will be joining in about a month.
Okay.
And
Yay! I mean,
Oh,
she was a good one.
another guy is going to be joining the Hall of Fame, very deservedly so. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, 3-time light heavyweight champion of the world, Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year in 2004 when he knocked out Roy Jones and beat Antonio Tarver all in the same year. He is the one and only Road Warrior, the great Glenn Johnson.
oh.
Woo!
Thank you.
Glenn!
Thank you.
Glenn is behind us, so let's move out of his way a little bit.
Oh,
There he
okay.
is.
Glenn, it's good for us to finally get you on, man.
I've been trying to get on with you guys, man. You guys are hard to catch up with.
You don't have much patience. You won't give us time to introduce you. Well, congratulations on being a Florida Boxing Hall of Fame inductee
Uh-oh.
this year. And that's our cue
That's a cue.
for our
All
toast.
right. Thank you.
All the
Thank you. I
same.
appreciate it.
Bob, after you said all of that, all those accolades, what is it about Glenn that made you feel like, wow, we have to get him in this year? Besides the timing.
I could rattle on about a half hour straight talking about Glenn because he's one of my favorite fighters, one of my favorite people. I've had the chance to ring announce his fights. I've had a chance to work with him doing play-by-play on TV. We've had a great relationship over the years. But as far as a fighter, there was nobody that I've ever seen that had the determination and the fortitude that Glenn Johnson had. Whether he won or lost, that wasn't even the issue. It was, would he show up and give a great performance? Glenn Johnson never gave a bad performance. He was action all the way. The way he would pressure people, cut the ring off, counter punch. I mean, he had so many tools to his disposal, and it just seemed like he got better as he went on in his career. A lot of fighters tend to fall off as they get a little bit older. Not Glenn Johnson. He was still fighting for world titles when most fighters are sitting at home, clipping coupons and doing crossword puzzles.
Yeah, he did. He was something. Like, I remember when I first got back into boxing, he was one of the boxers I watched, and I was like, dang, how long has he been into this, And he was still kicking butt then.
I kept telling Glenn, you got to retire so you can stay retired 5 years and we can get you into the Hall of Fame. And he was always like, yeah, but I got to fight off for so-and-so. Like, I don't care. Stop. Stay retired. We want you in the Hall of Fame. Well, he finally listened to me.
I did see where his last fight was with Yildirim, who just fought Canelo. That is how, like, he is still relevant, and boxers that he fought are still in the game. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, Glenn, what's your secret? Tell us. Was it spinach? What's your secret weapon?
Well, it wasn't much of a secret. It's just hard work. I mean, I started boxing late. I started boxing when I was 20 years old. So I felt like it was a lot. I had a lot to catch up with. So I had to really dig in to gather experience. Guys are 20 years old, boxing from they're like 8 years old. So they have a lot of experience by the time they're 20. So I feel like I was playing catch up my whole career. So like Bob said, it seemed like I was getting better as I was getting older, which is true because as I was getting older, I was getting the experience that I didn't have when I was younger. So I went on as long as I can. I milk it as much as I could because by the time I really truly understand boxing, I was in my 30s. I didn't become world champion until I was 35 years old. So, I had to milk it as much as I could.
Glenn, I was gonna say when you fought Roy Jones, man, you scared me. I thought you killed Roy.
Roy actually one of my favorite fighter. I mean, I always watched him. I like watching him. I thought he was very explosive, but I always felt like he was a fighter that didn't do well under pressure, and that was my game. So
Okay.
I always felt like I would able to beat him if I ever fight him. But I always saw that he got uncomfortable when he was pressured.
Hmm.
Wow.
Okay, so
Glenn,
I mean, you had some knowledge, you had some great boxing skills. Danny is telling us that he had some time with you in training camps, a lot of time in the gym. So, like, I mean, what do you think made you such a great boxer and able to pinpoint and know that the pressure would kill somebody like Roy Jones, so to speak?
Well, it is the way his style of fight. So he's a flashy fighter who just basically work off speed, but he don't really throw a combination because his flashiness. He want to throw a quick hard punch or two punch. So he's either a quick 1-2 or a hook or something like that similar. He's not a guy who gonna come and throw 4 or 5 punches or anything like that. He throw 2 or 3 punches. So I figure if I get into him and don't allow him to rest, because he like to throw those flashy fast punches and scare you, so you kind of stay on the outside, and that would allow him to recover. Because it takes a lot of energy to throw those type of punches. But so people never really keep making him work. So they give him time to recover. So I said if I ever fight him, I would never give him time to recover after he throw those punches. And if you watch the fight with he and I, every time he would go into flurry, I would actually go at him even more. Even if he hits me, even if he scored the punch, I figure if he did knock me out, I was going to stay on top of him. And that was my whole game plan. And then I could see him start breaking down after a while. And then I was able to take over the fight.
Mm.
Secure, I'd like to
Hey,
mention something if I
oh,
could.
go ahead,
Yeah,
Bob.
sure.
I just want to mention that not only is Glenn being inducted this year, but his longtime trainer and friend, Orlando Cuellar, one of the greatest trainers in the country, he is also being inducted this year. And I was just curious to get Glenn's take on being inducted in the same year as his very own trainer.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that goes to show the kind of work that we both did. I mean, we did great work together. We showed the boxing world that we was a great tandem. Both of us together working. I'm the fighter and he's the trainer. He's teaching me what he knows, and I was able to carry it out. So I mean that to me that's a great honor for both of us that we was able to be recognized that what we were doing actually recognized that from the Hall of Fame. Florida Boxing Hall of Fame is one of the prestigious one in the country. So I'm loving it.
Glenn, who's your favorite fighter?
My favorite fighter is like I said, Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. And obviously, you have to put Muhammad Ali in there because he's the greatest. So his name have to be in there as well. But the fighter that I emulate, try to fight like, is Marvin Agla. So,
That's
you
what I
know,
thought there too. I was
yeah.
thinking Marvin Hagler a minute ago. What was it like fighting with B Hop, Bernard Hopkins? I know you fought him earlier in your career.
Yeah, I fought him early in my career. That was a learning lesson. That was a marquee fight for me. That's where I recognized that I needed to go back to the gym and go back to the lab and put some more work in because, that's my introduction to big time boxing, and he schooled me in that fight. So I know that I had to go back to the gym and I start training much harder and trying to understand what I needed to do much better. And that was a
Right.
great learning lesson for me. So that was my best teaching moment in my career.
Okay.
Bob?
Glenn, I'm just curious, thinking about, your whole career now, looking back, and now you're about to be a Florida Boxing Hall of Famer. I'm just wondering, are the butterflies starting to come back like they did when you were fighting, knowing that you're going to be getting one of these awesome rings here?
Oh man, you know it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I can't wait. You know me, Bob. I'm not really a speaker. That is the scariest part of the whole situation for me is to go up there and I might have to have you beside me, Bob. I might have to talk to you and tell you to come stand next to me so I can have a little comfort. Because I'm
Well,
not I'm not those guys who like to do all that talking.
I'm going to be doing, Glenn, I'm doing your introduction, so I'll be standing right next to you and Danny and everybody else. So I got your back,
Awesome.
bro.
Exactly. I'll feel a
You
lot better. I'll feel a lot better because I'm way more comfortable in a boxing ring with anybody trying to hit me than standing in front of a mic.
oh, that was so funny because we know that Bob is like right there by the podium when he said you're gonna have to stand with him. So we're like,
I
I'm like,
will.
you'll be
I
there.
will. It's an honor.
So seriously, I was looking at your box rec before the show started, and I just have to share with some of our guests who don't know how many just champions and prize fighters you've actually fought besides just Antonio Tarver and Roy Jones. I mean, and Bernard Hopkins as well. I mean, you fought Lucian Butte, Carl Froch, Tavares Cloud, George Groves.
Wow.
I mean, Jamie Vasquez, and then you had Yildirim, and that's just to name a few. I mean,
Yeah, I
I would have
mean,
been like
I
amazing if it just called Frosh.
yeah, well, I fought against pretty much everybody in my era
Jay
that
Dawson.
was making any kind of noise. I take on all comers. So the only people that I didn't fight against was Joe Kazagi in England and what's his name in Canada? Forgot his name now.
Pascal?
John Pascal. Thank you.
John
John
Pascal.
Pascal.
Okay.
Those are and also James Stoney was in my weight class, but then he went to heavyweight, so he ate himself out of the division. But yeah, those are the only three guys that around my era, that was around my weight class that was making noise at that time that I didn't get to fight. Joe Kazagi pulled out of fighting me 3 times. We had 3 different dates, and he pulled
Wow.
out of all 3 of them. So that fight didn't happen.
Oh, okay. I see Montel Griffin and Chad Dawson on this list as well that I did mention. My goodness.
Who's the
Richard Hall,
toughest,
Yeah.
man, out of those guys? Who would you say was the toughest?
No, the toughest fighter is Bernard Hopkins. Again, I mean, you can, look at it where maybe I was younger in my career, but either way, that was my toughest fight that I had in my career. Bernard Hopkins. Everything else, I felt like I was not competitive in the Bernard Hopkins fight. Every other fight that I've ever been in, I was competitive in it. It's either I win it or it was a close fight. Or I was robbed in the fight and they get the decision. But the Bernard Hopkins fight, I was just totally not in the fight at all. I tried my best, but my best wasn't good enough.
Well, who was that fight that you're saying that you think you got robbed? I mean, which fight is that?
There's too many. I mean, there's too
Mm,
many fights that I
Chad
was robbed
Dawson
in.
for
I mean,
sure.
Chad Dawson, the first
Chad
fight with me and
Dawson.
He
Chad
beat
Dawson, I
Chad
was robbed in
Dawson
that
that
fight.
first fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Wasn't
so many
wasn't
fights
even
that I
close.
was robbed in. I can't even remember them anymore.
Wow. Hey, Glenn, who hit the hardest?
Tavares Cloud.
Tavares Cloud?
Wow. I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting that name.
yeah. Yeah, Tavares
Wow.
Claude is the better puncher out of all of the people I fought. Roy Jones is the fastest, the most
Mhm.
flashiest. I thought Chad Dawson is the most talented out of all the guys I fought. He had like just natural talent, but I just don't think he have the heart to actually maximize it and use it the way how he could be a special fighter if he put everything together. But some people have talent and missing other stuff. I think
Yeah.
clearly he was one of them.
Ask Danny that question. I'd like to hear Danny. I want to hear your that same question
What's
put to
that?
you. Who was the hardest
The hardest
hitting?
puncher?
The hardest puncher?
Well, I got put in my butt a few times, so I think all of them were hard punches. I mean, let's keep it real. I can't disrespect any of them. I mean, let's be honest. I tell you one thing: out of all the sparring I've ever had, the two toughest sparring I've ever messed with, that I've ever worked with, that worked with me, Glenn was just like nonstop. He was like somebody put like 10 cars back, he just wouldn't stop. And like I told you when I said this earlier, I don't know if you heard this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. When he won the title, like I felt like I won the title because I know the struggles and I went through. He wasn't like for any. He earned his shot. He worked for it every single day after construction and after doing all the things that he did. And when he
Thank you,
won that
man.
title, I feel like I won it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
If I could just say
Nobody
one
know.
other thing
A
that I
lot of people
forgot,
don't
one
know
of
the
the
Where is the
struggle.
rest of? Hold on, Danny. Where's? Can you hold the camera up to your face? Because you're not in our frame.
well, I'm trying to do you guys some. I'm trying to give you some justice because you look at my face, you might get cross-eyed. But listen, I forgot to say
That's not what them ladies
somebody
be telling
real,
me.
real near and dear heart. Well, thank God I don't wear glasses, right?
Oh, there
One
you go.
person that mentioned this whole thing because I got sidetracked. There's a person who's always had my back, and Glenn knows him very well. And some people he rubs wrong, some people he's just straight up, like a gangster with his, and that's Pat Burns. I love Pat Burns like if he was my father, and he's done a lot of great in my life outside of boxing. Forget about boxing, just helped me become a good man. And when I was down and out and I lost everybody fell to the wayside, he always had my back. And he wasn't really a trainer to me. He was more of a mentor to me. And I think Glenn messed with him for a little while. I stand corrected, huh, Glenn?
No, yeah, no. Pat Burns and I go way back. Yeah, I know him for he was my trainer from the amateur days all the way up until I fought Bernard Hopkins. So yeah. Me and Pat Burns go all the way back. My rightful trainer is Bobby Baker, but he worked under Pat Burns because I came up in the police PAL, which is what Pat Burns was. He run that program. So the Miami PAL, I should say. So yeah, I'm very familiar with Pat Burns.
Pat is a Hall of Famer as well in the
Can I say
Florida
one thing
Boxing
about
Hall of
Glenn?
Fame.
Yeah, go
Huh?
ahead.
Can I say one thing about Glenn?
Go ahead, Danny.
Hey, Glenn. One thing I give Glenn,
Yeah.
not only was he a machine that never stopped, he had like these extra long arms. Like he was like an arm. Like I mean, he had like these really long arms. I mean, he would just not stop punching, and the arms would just keep coming. I'm like, how the hell does he do that? You ever been told that, Glenn?
Glenn. I'm in the Glenn
I mean,
family because I have long arms too. It's like the reach is crazy for me to be a female.
Yeah, well, yeah. People say I have long arms, but I don't think I have long arms. I mean, I think I have regular arms. I think you say my reach
man.
was 81.
The end of those arms. What are you talking about? I felt them when we went sparring.
Yeah, no, but
I mean,
I'm not
I got
saying,
T-Rex arms,
I just use my arms a lot because that's what win fights, right? Nobody want to give you nobody going to give you any points for not throwing punches. So I throw punches because I wanted points.
Hey Bob, we're gonna have to line them up at the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame and see which one of them, if Glenn is telling the truth or not about his reach being average. Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen,
I
look,
think I got
I
average
already
arms.
know.
I don't think my arms are all that long. They said 81 inches. I think they gave me when they measured me up.
we'll do a tale of the tape at the Hall of Fame and see who's telling the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah. We could do that. We could do that.
Hey, Danny, I want to know what young fighter, this for you and Glenn, what young fighter today that y'all like, man, out of these young guys that's out right now?
Well, for me, I mean the fighters that I like right now, I like Earl Spence. I like Crawford, and I like Canelo. I think
Canelo. Okay.
those three. I think those three fighters are three of the best fighters right now. I also like this young kid too. He just beat what's the near? He's just beat the near for the title. What's his name?
Oh,
Teofimo.
Figueroa. Brandon
No,
Figueroa?
Teofimo. No,
Oh,
Teofimo.
Teofimo. Oh, okay.
Teofimo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think he's an awesome fighter as well. So yeah, those are a couple of that's four of the younger guys that I think are pretty special right now.
Okay. What about you, Danny?
I like Shakur Stevenson. I think he's going to be a force to
Mm-hmm.
reckon with pretty soon. I mean, he's incredibly talented, super fast. I like Tank Davis, and I like Lopez too. I mean, he got that swag. He got that fire. You know what I mean? There's another kid that lives in Miami right now that he's not really well known right now. I saw him here not so long ago. His name is Luis Melendez. Man, he's gonna be a force to reckon with pretty soon too. I can't really say he's a friend of mine or nothing. I just saw him fight, and
Mm-hmm.
he knocked the kid out, and then I saw him fight again. And I'm like, this kid is like lights out. Those four guys right now, they make me enjoy watching boxing.
Right.
Bob?
Bob?
I'm a little partial to my area where I live up here near Central Florida. Mark Reyes Jr. is one of my favorite fighters. I've done a lot of his fights, ring announcing. He just fought on Showtime, lost a very close and controversial decision, but he's got all kinds of talent. Not only is he talented, but he does a lot of work in the Tampa Bay area with kids who are cancer. And he's just a great kid in and out of the ring. So right now, he's my favorite young fighter coming up. And even though he lost that last fight, I still think he's got it in him to win a world championship.
Yeah, we do too. I mean, and the power is real. They found out at Showtime and DeBella and not everybody from up north. They found out that the power was real.
Yeah.
He's real,
I'll keep my eye out for that kid. What's his name again?
Yeah, you need to. He's Mark
Reyes
Jr. And he's going to be fighting back in Tampa. Yeah, he's fighting back in Tampa on June 12th.
Okay.
Right. And I also like the kid that's in Miami right now, Xander. He's been on Telemundo for a couple of years, and now that ESPN is finally covering his fights, and I think that he's also going to go a long ways too, because he has like such a great work ethic.
Hey, Glenn, do we got any young prospects coming out of Jamaica?
There's a couple of them, but I don't really remember their name right now. But people keep telling me about a couple of guys that's in Kingston, Jamaica. They have like, I think, two of them that's supposed to go to the Olympics, but they're not going anymore because, I guess the COVID and all of the other stuff. So I think the boxing, some kind of boxing association pull out of the out of the Olympics, so they're not able to go to the Olympics. So I don't know what they're going to do, but some I've been hearing about them. A couple of good fighters, but I can't remember their name, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, keep us abreast and let us know so we can check them out and have them on the podcast.
Yeah,
It's very sad. Mm-hmm.
what's his name was telling me, George. He was telling me about. I think one of them is his nephew. He want me to sign the kid. So I
Okay.
tell him, he said he was gonna shop the kid around to a couple of other people. I was one of them that he have in mind. So I tell him, let me know if he interested or if he's serious. So yeah, definitely if I get to sign him, I will definitely introduce him and let you guys know about him and know that I signed him and will be promoting him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get security. You
Okay,
got
we
to
got a
remember,
couple.
Glenn.
Go ahead.
I just want to say you got to remember, Glenn is now a boxing promoter, so he's switched gears from fighter to promoter. So he's in a whole
Wow.
different realm right now. But man, I'm excited to see his company up and grow and do great things in South Florida.
Most
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you.
definitely.
Road
but
Warrior Promotions.
Road Warrior
Yeah,
Promotion.
I'm promoting and
There
I'm
you go.
training fighters as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're growing them and then promote them.
Hey, Glenn, is there any truth that you and Tava gonna fight again? Is there any truth to that?
It's the
exhibition
first time.
style.
It's the first time. It's the first time I'm hearing about it. So I would say there's no truth to it. I mean, listen. I've been ever since Tava and I fought. I've been trying to fight Tava, and he been ducking me ever since then. So I mean, if he want to fight now, I mean, I would not refuse him. If he come to me with good money, we can do it. I'm not afraid of anybody. I wasn't afraid of anybody when I was active. I know I'm inactive. I certainly ain't going to turn down another old man. If I'm going to turn down somebody, he's going to be young. So if an old man want to fight me, I'm in.
Hey, maybe Hall of Fame weekend, y'all could do it.
Listen, so long as they pay me, I'm in.
You would
I
consider
said,
it if the money was
listen.
right, wouldn't you, Glenn?
I
You would
don't, I
come
don't,
right
I
out of
don't, I don't
retirement
fight for
quick.
free. I don't
Yeah.
fight. I don't fight for free. I don't fight in the street. You never heard of me fighting a club. You never hear me fighting anywhere. I don't fight for free. I call the police for that. So you pay me for a match, we on and pop it.
I heard that.
So we got some comments, guys. We got comments from Colombia saying hi, Panama, Cuba, and Honduras all saying congratulations to the inductees.
Oh,
Well, tell them, give them a big thanks for me. I appreciate it. I'm always thankful when the fans, they are the biggest supporter of the sport, so they are the most important.
Okay, guys, so we're about to wrap up, but Bob, did you have any last parting words for us?
Just inviting everybody. If you're in the state of Florida or anywhere close by, you still got time to get your tickets and your hotel reservations. Come and hang with us June 18th, 19th, and 20th, and Clearwater at the Clearwater St. Pete Marriott. We have live boxing on Friday night, the 18th. We have a gala dinner and fist casting and seminars going Saturday, and of course the induction ceremony. If you can't make it, you can always watch the induction ceremony at 11 a.m. on Monday, June 20th at FloridaBoxingHall.com.
Yes, and of course, I have to represent TNK Boxing Promotions for that Friday night, the 18th, and we're going to have a full house. I'm so excited about the level of competition and the local talent that's going to be showcased on that show. We got Ivan Franco. We got Baked Chicken, remember him? Schoolboy Garrett is going to surprise us.
Got the Golden Child.
The Golden Child, Taz Brown. And others. Please make sure that you guys get your tickets for that as well. Just go ahead to the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame site and get all 3 days so you can be a participant the entire weekend and enjoy all the festivities. And check out how long Glenn Johnson's reach really is.
Listen with that. I didn't know where you was going with that. I didn't know where she was going, Bob.
I'm telling you, you never know with that lady. You never know.
It's always boxing. It's always boxing on the mind.
It is. It is.
Okay,
All
Glenn,
right,
do
well,
you have
thank you
anything you want to
guys.
say to your
Appreciate you.
fans?
I mean, always, man. The fans are very important. I appreciate them. You know, and come out and support the Hall of Fame. You know, we really want you to come and support us. We want to see the crowd. You know, we'll do my meet and greet with everyone that's around and stuff. 'Cause we appreciate the support and we want to make sure they feel good. Sign any autograph I get a chance to sign on anything. Make sure that everybody feels good and have a good time and stuff. So come on down and support the Boxing Hall of Fame, Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, one of the best one in the country.
Glenn, I forgot to tell you, I like when you win a fight, how you go up in the corner and you put your arms up like this here.
The Road Warrior.
I like that.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? You gotta represent.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so please make sure you go to TNK Boxing's page. Just check out who else is involved with the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame fight night that Friday, kicking off Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, June 18th to June 20th, baby. And you'll be able to see Boxing Playhouse in the house doing what we love, which is, you know, covering media, shaking hands, taking pictures with the fans, giving people like Bob a hard time.
I need it. I need it.
Don't forget to get your cup, Bob.
Yes.
No, not a cup, a goblet. That's a goblet.
Goblet, yes.
Yeah.
Chalice, for sure.
Chalice,
Thank you guys
you
so much for tuning in to Boxing Playhouse tonight. We're on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out our website, boxingplayhouse.com, as well as sign up for our YouTube channel, which is Boxing Playhouse as well. And we'll see you next week, baby.